All street law lessons are based on two basic ideas. Students talk themselves to understanding, and students should be doing the heavy intellectual lifting in class. When you observe a street law class, you should be able to observe these basic ideas in action. The Mini-Moot court activity is a highly engaging discussion strategy that allows students to discuss the underlying legal principles and concepts of justice in court cases. There are 4 stages to the Mini-Moot court activity: learning about the case and setting up the activity, small role group preparation for the Mini-Moot, the Mini-Moot simulation itself, and debrief.
Hi, everybody!
When students arrive, after explaining the objectives and overview of the lesson, provide an explanation of what moot court is and how it's different from a mock trial. It is important to remind students that in moot courts, the facts of the case are not in dispute. Rather, in moot courts, they'll be analyzing and evaluating underlying legal principles and concepts of justice. Then introduce the case topic and provide students with a case summary that includes the facts of the case, the issues, and constitutional provisions and precedents. Review key terms as needed, including the terms petitioner and respondent.
So a petitioner is someone who loses in the lower court, but however appeals the lower court's decision in the higher court. And the respondent is someone who wins in the lower court, however, they need to argue that the lower court's decision was correct. Okay?
After students finish reading, it is important to check in on students' understanding of the case summary.
Can someone tell me what this case is about?
This is the time to make sure students understand the case, and it is time to clarify any misconceptions students might have about the case. This is not the time for students to construct arguments for either side. That work happens in small role groups later. Once students have a good grasp of the case summary, the facilitator should introduce the first Mini-Moot activity, so the students know what they're preparing for. The first step in preparing students to participate in the Mini-Moot is grouping the students. The facilitator passes around cards that will help group students into roles of petitioner, respondent, or justice.
So A will be justices, B you will be the petitioner, and C, you will be the respondent, okay?
Next, students regroup into their 3 role groups: one group for all the petitioners, one group for all the respondents, and one group for all of the justices. Once in these groups, a law student or other expert should work with each of the 3 groups to prepare for their roles during the Mini-Moot.
How will agreeing with a petitioner or respondent's arguments affect other cases in the future?
The petitioners and respondents prepare the best arguments for their side and anticipate arguments that the other side will make. The justices review the case and prepare questions to ask. After about 20 minutes, students then use their grouping cards again to form their Mini-Moot court triads.
3s come here, 4s go here.
Each Mini-Moot group should have at least one petitioner, one respondent, and one justice. If the class numbers do not allow for perfect triads, then add additional judges or lawyers to each group. The facilitator then reminds students of the Mini-Moot court procedure and keeps track of time.
Petitioners. You're going to start.
First, the petitioner has 30 uninterrupted seconds to present an opening argument. After 30 seconds, the justice can ask questions for the next 2.5 minutes as the petitioner presents the best arguments from their side. This same process then repeats for the respondent. After that, both sides have 2 minutes each for rebuttal statements. The justice may ask questions at any time during rebuttal statements. At the end, the justice must make a ruling and share with the group.
Which argument from each side was most persuasive, do you think?
At the conclusion of the activity, students debrief, sharing the results from their Mini-Moot court triads and sharing their thoughts about the process. It is important to leave time to allow students to debrief on the activity. Street Law has developed teaching materials on more than 100 Supreme Court cases. These materials are in a format that makes them easy to use for Mini-Moot courts. Teaching materials for using the Mini-Moot court activity are available on the Street Law website.